Crypto treasuries are having their day. One in particular, well, two in particular, are having a fantastic day today. One you would have been ahead of while it was down if you're in the Stalagmite member. So go ahead and check out the channel memberships, especially that Stalagmite level where you get your real bang for your buck in that level there. You also got SodaStraw with the badges and the emojis, early access to the videos while they're processing up to HD, and priority replies to comments, and Stalactite where you'll get the member shoutouts along with everything else that you get in SodaStraw. So let's get right into it. Zone, I've brought this to the channel before. In fact, I brought it to the channel when it was back here and it was all down low here, and I let Stalagmite know as I was accumulating the last couple of days, and I've decided to ramp that up and accumulate even more now because it's very clear, very, very clear that a big player got involved this afternoon. Look at this candle. We had a candle that went from 355 all the way up to 923, and they bought and they bought and they bought and they bought. Let's look at the 1 minute chart, how that went. Basically, in 2 minutes, they shot it from 377 all the way up to 919 in 2 minutes. And it came all the way back down to about 416 in from 107 to 122. So we're talking about 15 minutes it took to bleed that down, to fade it down again. And you can see that volume staying high the whole time. Volume staying high the whole time. It was coming down and down and down and down and down and down. Now it's finally calming down. Somebody big got involved right at the close today. Okay, somebody big got involved right at the close today on Zone. And Zone, if you remember, Zone is the Dogecoin Treasury company. Okay, it's the Dogecoin Treasury company, officially sponsored by the DOGE Foundation, House of Doge, and is headed by Elon Musk's personal lawyer. Okay, that's what's going on here. Look at this. We're halfway back up this jump here. This is where they announced the $175 million of dilution, and now we're halfway back up there. Okay, we're almost halfway back through the gap. Let's see. Yeah, almost a little more than halfway through the gap. I started buying more heavily in this afternoon. As I saw that it went up that high and it was still holding at about 30% higher, I started buying more, and I will probably continue to accumulate all the way through this gap and beyond, because if Doge, which is currently trading at 22 cents, or is it 24 cents now? It had an 8% day, I believe. So it's not like a crazy day for Doge, but this thing went ballistic. Doge is up 8%. It's at 24 cents. Doge could 4x from here. Okay. What's going to happen when Doge 4x's from here to Zone? What's going to happen? All right. Sticking with me here. Remember BMNR? Remember SBET? The 2, 3, 4, 5,000% run on those bad boys. That's what I'm looking at for Zone. I'm looking at it to go from $3, maybe even to 60, maybe to 100. Who knows where this could go? I mean, Doge is a wild thing compared to a lot of cryptos out there. And let's just go here from where we were on the low, about right there, and we'd be looking at 5,000. We were looking at $35 from the lows. Okay, but if we just go from like before, where it wasn't the lowest lows, it was from the low of the drop after the announcement. It was about 5,000. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. How does that look? We need to go further. Okay, we're almost there. About right there. About $130. About $130. So if you've got 100 of those, that's $13,000. If you've got, I think I measured it differently before and it was like 160. If you've got 100 shares, that is potentially $10,000. Now, of course, there's no guarantees this thing could go to zero. This thing could flop right now and go right down to zero and knife me, which is why I'm not putting more in than I'm willing to lose. So if I'm not willing to lose it, I'm not putting it in. I may actually consider rolling some of the money I have currently in Doge itself into Zone. That might be something that I'm looking to do here. Okay. So I'm trying not to get too excited here, because I mean, while it is exciting, you know, it's not, there's no guarantee that it's going to do what I think it's going to do. All right. So we're going to take a look at some other ones. This one too, Ford, not the motor company, but Forward Industries on the NASDAQ. Ford, the car maker, is, I believe, just ticker symbol F. Yeah, their ticker symbol F. Ford is Forward Industries. They are the largest publicly traded Solana treasury with 7.7 million SOL. They have a few large crypto players involved. They're not trying to make it into a big hype cycle as much as they're just trying to make it into closer to like a sovereign wealth fund. That's what they're looking at trying to do with this one. And you can see today that one was up 58% at one point. At one point, it was up 94% just today. Now, how high has this thing been before? How high has this thing been before? In March 2021, this thing went as high as 60 bucks. Could we return to that? If we did, that'd be another 100% from here. Not too bad. What am I looking at here on the volume profile? Let's see. This is not, it doesn't have much volume aside from, all the way down at 6 bucks. So we'll have to go maybe to a weekly, see what we're looking at here. Same sort of deal, huh? Not a lot of volume anywhere, but a little bit at about 16. So we might fill this gap here. We could fill this gap at 16 and go on, or we could just drive higher, but this is one I wanted to get on everyone's radar as well as a Solana treasury company. We also have UPXI. They're the second largest with 2 million Solana that they are holding, and they are a lot lower in price still. They haven't had a big upward movement yet. They did have their big sell-off already, which was a negative 60 day back on June 24th, and they've been kind of like working their way up. Now, we did make a lower low recently, and as long as we hold 431, there is potential that we could come back and make a higher high than 1066, but this is condensing right now. It's condensing, it's consolidating right here. And we'll be looking for a move out of this zigzag here, probably a break above 914, and then I'd take interest in this one a little bit more on UPXI. What's some others? I know I had a few others listed. Let me bring them up here. So we went over Zone, we went over Ford. Those are the two big boys, the two that had the huge move today. We've got UPXI, which is also a big Solana treasury company. We also have Yorkville, which is MCGA, Make Crypto Great Again. That's the Crow. That's the Crow one. Yorkville Acquisition, that's the Crow holding company, treasury company, and they haven't had their day yet. And you can see they had a little pop-up, which was 7% one time, and then it came down again. Now this one, I think, is going to brew a little bit more, and then will give us some action later on when we start seeing those deals that were announced between Crow and the current administration and his family to come to fruition. Once those are fully confirmed, I think we'll see some more action out of this one. We've also got, of course, you've got MicroStrategy, the OG, with their Bitcoin treasury, which there's a lot of copycats to this one now, and a lot of other companies that hold a lot of Bitcoin, and they made a bit of a lower low here recently. I'd be watching this area here at $300 very carefully. This is looking a lot like this peak over here. So if this thing doesn't break out of this and start going higher and make a higher high than 458, then I'd say that we're at that point in the cycle where it's just going to come down. I hope not, because that would mean that Bitcoin's also going to come down, but that's there. BMNR is the big dog for Ethereum. Big dog for Ethereum. They hold the most Ethereum as a treasury company, and they've got Tom Lee at the helm, which gives investors a lot of confidence in this one. I am involved in this one. I actually own 100 shares of this now, and I plan on buying more. There's SBET, which is another Ethereum treasury. They're not doing as well as BMNR, but they also hold quite a lot between the two of them. They're going to have about 10% of the available supply of Ethereum. SUI holds SUI. That's a SUI treasury company. That's for you to take a look at there. Mill City changed themselves to SUI, so they're just going to be associated with SUI. And they've been kind of flapping around back and forth. When SUI starts to take off, I fully expect this one to do the same, take off maybe 2, 3 to 5x what SUI does. ETHZilla's on there as well. That does some stuff. Like, it's had a big drop. It could potentially see this one return to maybe $7 or $8 as well. ETHZ. And that's that. But the big one I wanted to bring was Zone. Zone. That's the one I'm watching right now. That's the one I'm involved in. That's the one I'm buying personally. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You got to do your own research. You got to come to your own conclusions. You got to understand that you're responsible for your own risk. Don't go betting the farm on anything you hear online. Make sure that you investigate everything thoroughly, come to your own conclusions, and verify your conclusions multiple times, and then take action after that. Make sure you understand what you're buying, you understand where you would buy it, why you're buying it, where you're going to sell it if why you bought it changes, and always protect your capital. Right? Stop losses, stop losses, stop losses. I went over that today with the members because I did do a loss today. I took a loss on a Tesla trade, and I went in. I said, all right, at the beginning, I said I'm gonna take 15%. If it hits 15%, I'll be out of it. I went up a little bit, and I said, okay, it's not giving me strength. I'll cut it at 10%, and then it knifed me down to 15% anyways. And I closed it for a 15% loss, and I think it might come back at the end. I didn't look again because looking back is a great way to lose more money. No, it actually stayed low. It stayed low. Let's go to a 5. It just stayed low all day. Yeah, it came down and it just settled down here. And look at this. It's squeezing. It's probably going to do its move tomorrow when we get that jobs report and it solidifies that we're going to get a rate cut. Anyways, yeah, check out Zone. Take a look at it. If you missed it, I don't think you've missed it yet. I think once we get above 784, we're going to be visiting 12 and possibly 20 in no time. So, get your eyes on that one. It's going to move like a maniac here. Very clearly going to move like a crazy thing. And we're going to get some pretty big spikes coming in once that hype train gets rolling. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Tradercade store, link in the description as well as the channel bio. Don't forget about the channel memberships. Everybody in that stalagmite level has been getting alerts every time I buy Zone and anything else. And have a profitable day.